I'm talking to a lot of people and I say, it's very easy to look at a postcard and go, man, it's so beautiful there. Or when you're sitting in your office looking up at the mountains and, it's so pretty up there. It looks pretty from afar, but it's far from pretty. The roads that go everywhere lead to a dead end. And you start driving around and you're looking at the ditches and going, beer can, beer can, beer can, pop can. Oh, bag of garbage. It gets disgusting. From a young age, being able to enjoy the backcountry on a horse or through dirt biking or quadding, and I've always seen garbage in the backcountry, but at a young age, you just don't think about it. Yeah, they're big granite slabs. I feel as I grew up and time went on, you forget about it a little bit. Obviously, I'm not the person I was back then. We all grow up. We all slowly evolve into what we become. And I used to be at a not young, teenager age where I was that kid having pallet fires.
Pretty much.
And not the garbage. I've never been one to throw garbage in the backcountry, but I used to burn pallets. We'd go to pallet fires and bonfires and parties in the backcountry. And I look back now, and those fires that I used to go to, there's still nails, more than likely, in the ground from those fires that I was at. My dad and my mom were always taking us camping, doing outdoor activities, and we were taught values and take out what you brought in or take out more. The main mission we have is to keep a clean backcountry, promote having a clean backcountry, and the education part behind of the effects of illegal dumping, living in the bush, and what happens after. It's one thing to say, oh yeah, we did a big cleanup from a party, but that solo cup or those beer cans during spring runoff and how they can potentially end up down a stream, in a lake. And, we got to teach our future generation to take care of the backcountry. We only have one. It's not like we can just replace it. And being raised in that house where you have two types of people, you can talk about it, and it'd be fine to sit there and talk about it, or we could just do something about it. And yeah, we decided to do something about it. And here we are 8 years later with over 1.1 million pounds of garbage removed out of our local backcountry. If you were to ask me 8 years ago, where do you think OFTF will be? Where we are now is never where I thought it would have grown to. And seeing how many like-minded people there are and the need for the Okanagan Forest Task Force and groups like it. It's not just us. There's other groups on the Lower Mainland and all over BC. And it's sad that groups like ours and others that are needed. When we first started doing that little cleanup and filling up a dumpster, and then we all talked sort of after that, and we're like, well, let's do the road. We'll just, there's garbage in the ditches, we'll get it cleaned. And for the longest time, that's what, well, not the longest time, but for the first few years, that's really all it was just cleaning roadsides and the little makeshift shooting ranges, party spots. And we started to notice more and more encampments and just things like that in the lot just before COVID really started. And once COVID hit and everything started to get shut down, people were losing jobs, and it just sort of exploded in the bush.
The road? Okay. That's actually the closest access to the road is up that trail.
I'd be connected to our Starlink, but it's quite a ways away.
Huh. Welcome to the shit show.
Right. Lovely. Fuel can. Pre-mixed. Still, oh, there's still gas in it. Sitting in the creek bed, ready for spring runoff. And this would have ended up downstream with mixed fuel in our drinking water.
A lot of the shops that provide things to do in the backcountry were like sold out of everything, and everything was backlogged. And I was like, it's an eye opener when you're like, okay, people are now home and they're bored. And that's when we started noticing this explosion of population going into the backcountry, more garbage, more encampments, more everything, which is more stress on an ecosystem. And it's, yeah, from there, it exploded to the point we were doing one cleanup a month, and now we're doing sometimes 2 to 3 cleanups in a month. And instead of just cleaning up in the Kelowna area, we travel all over the Okanagan, out to Okanagan Falls. We've gone out to Vernon, everything in between. David and Sheila and all, like a bunch of our core volunteers that we hang out, we do these cleanups, I've become good friends with. Like, for example, David will sit for hours on the phone at nighttime going through regional district mapping and Google Earth, looking at spots, and is that something? Let's go check it out. And then the next day we'll go out and check it out. Or seeing a little blue blip on a map where it looks like a tarp. And then you go up and find out that, yep, nope, that was a tarp. So, I mean, you build relationships and friendships with these people because you spend so much time with them. And had our group not been established, would our paths have ever crossed? There's a lot of amazing people out there that we all share the same interest, and we have a lot more in common with than we know.
I'm built to roll.
Okay. You take the gentle slope. There is a tree down there you might not.
I'm definitely built to roll. But hey, I'm comfortable to cuddle with.
This, and then to do all of this, I found a trick to picking up babies.
My name is Sheila Kerr, and I'm currently living in Peachland, BC. I was born and raised in the Okanagan Valley, and I've been fortunate to have a very strong connection with the outdoors throughout my life here. My background is in harm reduction. I spent roughly 20 years working frontline as a coordinator for harm reduction and education surrounding substance use, bloodborne infections, work really closely with individuals who are experiencing homelessness. I personally have my own histories with periods of homelessness as well as addiction and mental health issues. And so it's something that I strongly empathize with. And having sort of worked on both sides of that, it's something that has partially formed me and who I am and how I respond in situations. I believe that everybody has the right to dignity and autonomy and to be able to have chances and opportunities to find a way that they can make their life work for them. When I heard about the task force and about the goals and missions of it, my interest was definitely piqued, and so I decided that it would be a lot more efficient to have more people involved and join a crew of people, because I've always believed that more people can make a larger difference than one person on their own, and it's absolutely proven to be 100% accurate. Got involved very early, and I've been I've been amazed by the amount that we've been able to increase our capacity and work as a team and pull off some really great things as a group.
I don't know if it's the rush that they get, if it's because they think they're not going to get caught. Is it because they can't afford the dump fees? Is it convenience because they live close to that area? There's so many variables that I don't have that answer. I would love to ask somebody, but instead we just hand all their information over to conservation. They get to ask them. We can fill up a box of a pickup truck in the Okanagan here and take it to the Kelowna landfill for between $12 to $20, depending on how much weight you have there. But yet you'll spend $40 driving it up into the bush, risking getting caught and the fine for what? Doesn't make any sense. I don't think it's the fees. I think it's the convenience or the sheer lack of laziness, and people just don't want to go to the dump. Our dump here is open for the most part 7 days a week, and I mean, I've never had an issue dumping things. I've been told that there might be some issues now with drywall and whatever because some people have misused that. I don't know the story fully behind that, but I mean, for the most part, household garbage isn't that expensive to dump, so there's no real reason to be dumping it in the bush. We've caught people burning couches and entertainment units, all kinds of stuff. We've actually caught people burning garbage.
Yeah. And then they're still burning garbage. Yeah. And it goes up and over this hillside. Yep.
Last year, we responded to a fire up Beaver Lake Road. Somebody was burning a truck canopy and tonneau cover. I don't understand it. And especially when you can take that to the dump and just pay the $20-$30, drop it off and not have to risk the large fine you're going to get if you get caught dumping or burning that. Not to mention the smoke coming off that is toxic, and the mess left on the ground, and all the wildlife that are either going to be around it or potentially eating from the ground there as well. And now you got that. The one thing that baffles me is the amount of people that think it's okay to dump yard waste. Well, it's just my tree trimmings. It's just grass. It's still dumping. It's still against the law, and if you're dumping an invasive species, you risk wrecking another ecosystem. And people don't think, okay, well, yeah, it's just your lawn clippings, but did you fertilize your lawn? Did you put any chemicals, weed killers, anything on it? Either wildlife's going to get it and eat it, or you're now leaching those chemicals into the ground where they don't belong. And we live in a place known for our wildfires. Why would you feed a potential fire more fuel? For years, we've had devastating wildfires all over the Okanagan and farther. It makes no sense to be feeding what could be another fire fuel. I don't know where the common sense is. It's not common, apparently. I just don't understand it, and people want to sweep it under the rug like it's no big deal. But every action has a reaction. And even if it's, okay, well, I just dumped a garbage bag of leaves. But then the next guy sees that you dumped leaves. And then they're, oh, okay, well, I'll just dump my bag here with his. And then the next guy, well, the one guy dumped those, I'll just add to it. And it just keeps building and building. Gallard Forest Service Road here in Kelowna is a really bad area where we've pulled up behind people where dad's driving the truck and he's got his kid in the box of the truck scooping leaves out while they drive up the road. Why? I just don't understand it. Compost it. Take it to the landfill. Do something. But they don't. It's just a convenience. And I just don't understand it. Finding more and more of these encampments in the backcountry and the amount of garbage that they're bringing in, it's disturbing on tremendous levels. Like, who's going to take it out of the bush? They're not. They're bringing it in. Not to mention the raw sewage aspect of it. You know, when you're out camping and you come home with your travel trailer or whatever it is that you're using, you take it to a sandy dump, you get rid of it. Many of these camps that we're coming across, they've got a tube coming right out of the back of the trailer to the base of a tree. And some of them are in watersheds. Some of them are right close to streams and rivers and creeks. That's going into those. That's a very disgusting thought to think that that's going down a creek that's either going into a lake, people's drinking water. I don't want to drink that water. We've run into dumped oil jugs, chemicals, all kinds of things that are just leaking into the soils. One of our cleanups in the very beginning we came across was a whole bunch of vehicles and a bunch of 50-gallon drums of the chemical they used to treat wood. There was also dead deer in the area, birds. It's a very toxic chemical, and people just dump it, not thinking of every action has a reaction. This summer alone, cleaning up probably over 800 pounds of diapers. It gets frustrating. They have kids. You're adults. Why am I playing adult to adults? It doesn't make sense. Not to mention, they're not thinking about the wildlife that has ripped their garbage bags open and is eating the contents of said diapers and the gel and everything in there. You're harming animals, potentially killing them, and they want to laugh or shrug it off and go, oh, well, it wasn't me. But it was, and I know it was you in this situation because there was evidence proving that it was them, but I would have more respect if they just owned up to it and said, yeah, I dumped it. I screwed up. I'm sorry. Cool. Let's go pick it up together. You don't need to hide it. I know it was you. inside the diaper, obviously you're going to have either urine or feces, whatever it is. And depending on what wildlife is in that area, they can be attracted to the smell of that. Once they get into the garbage bag or the diaper, it contains the gel that expands when the diaper's used. Well, that's not good to ingest. It can keep expanding, and that will potentially kill or extremely harm wildlife if ingested, because it will expand in their stomach. So it's not good for them to be eating, nor is any garbage. And, when you're cleaning up dump trailer after dump trailer of diapers that is already spread out because wildlife has gone through it, it's just a matter of time before we start finding the animals.
But it's really pissing me off to think where we just were 500 feet that way to this. 2 seconds ago, we were at one of the most beautiful views, and within 500 feet, you're at this.
I'm not sure. I'm thinking this building here was their outhouse.
More than likely.
One of the biggest encampments, I guess, that we had to clean up after as we pulled in, they were still there. They were packing up, and this was in Okanagan Falls. David was with me, and we had a local that had reached out to us and said that him and many community members had reached out to all agencies to see what could be done about this encampment. And everybody wanted to seem to put the blame onto somebody else, or it was somebody else's issue. And I had posted on their community Facebook group that we were going to come out, we'll take a look, assess it, and see what we can even do about it, or if we could even do anything about it. And when we pulled in, they were packing up, and the one gentleman walked over to our truck, and he said, I remember specifically him saying, "We're leaving. We heard you guys were coming." And the thought in my mind was, why are you leaving for us? But yeah, you've had law enforcement up here. You've had all kinds of people up here, but yet you hear we're coming and you're leaving. And we stayed in touch with the local gentleman there, and he said, yeah, nope, they're gone. A whole winter had gone by, and we'd given them at least 3 to 4 months to take out whatever they could and wanted to. And I remember pulling up the day before the cleanup. We had actually brought down travel trailers. We were camping there. We were going to stay there for a couple days because we knew it was going to be a big task. To paint a picture for you is a picture's worth 1,000 words, and if I showed you what it looked like before, it was absolutely disgusting. They had chopped down a whole section's worth of trees. They had built this big encampment with motorhomes and travel trailers, and there was people's personal belongings all over the place, and quads, motorcycles, all kinds of things. And yeah, I remember David and I the day before saying, okay, we need to make a metal pile over here, a garbage pile over there. The bins are going to be dropped off here. And we spent the better part of a whole day and into the evening getting everything prepped up and ready. Went back to our camp, had dinner, talked about everything. And that morning, there was as much heavy equipment as possible that we could get from the locals that were there. Front end loaders, bobcats, mini excavators. ABC had brought up 2 of their large semi trucks, and altogether that cleanup, from start to finish, with about 15, maybe 20 of us there for that cleanup, was 129,000 pounds that was removed out of that area. can't say homeless encampment because everybody, when I say homeless encampment, you have a vision. You picture the rail trail in Kelowna, or you picture some of the cleanups where we've done where you get that image. You know that saying, don't judge a book by its cover. You, as a human, you can't help but do that. So if I say the word homeless encampment, you automatically get that vision of the worst of the worst, whatever. And I'm not going to paint everybody with the same brush. We go out there and we have people that are genuinely down on their luck and they're trying to make the best of a very shitty situation. A couple where the husband just had open heart surgery and the wife works, they don't make enough to go rent somewhere. Rent is just too expensive. And they're living in the backcountry.
What's that?
This looks more well built.
Yeah, it's just. Want to see inside? Oh,
It's just a tarp.
You had so much mud in here, so I just put a temporary floor in.
Well, at least it's framed.
Exactly. That's just keeps from collapsing on it.
Yeah.
I went through so many tarps the first year I was here.
I can't paint them with the same brush as the guy that's got 6 dumpsters full of garbage worth sitting there. When, yeah, they might have a bit of a mess, but it's not as bad as that.
We come in afterwards once everybody's out of here, and then we just come in with dumpsters and clean it.
And clean everything. Yeah. Like I said, I didn't want to abandon it.
Like the site that I had to just walk through with the 2 guys over there.
How many? How many trailers and campers do they have there?
1, 2, 5.
Oh my
5 now.
gosh.
Sorry, 4.
No, there's 5.
There's the one with the wooden structure attached to it.
Yeah.
There's the one that he was in, and there's 2 down
That
the
wooden
side of the road.
structure is a second
Oh, is
trailer.
it? Okay.
Yeah, it's a small trailer,
Okay.
so there's 5.
So then there's 5.
Damn.
And one of them is like a 32-foot fifth wheel.
Really?
Yes.
And it ain't coming out in one piece.
Oh, shit. At least we can drive this thing out here.
Like for me to go up there and do that cleanup, I'm looking at minimum 4 dumpsters.
No.
Minimum.
Yeah.
If they walk away.
Any
from
timeline on when you guys might be doing this one? Because if
No
I'm
idea
healed
yet.
by then, I'll help you.
Oh,
be
yeah.
right
I
with
honestly
you.
have no idea. None of this will probably happen till spring next year.
Okay, well, I'll be healed by then, so I'll be
We
here
have
helping
so
you guys.
much
out.
on our
Yeah.
plate that
I'll guarantee that I will help you guys. I will not
yeah.
not be here.
It's just hard just for me doing it all with him and all his health issues.
Like I was
so,
telling the
I
cameras.
try my best, but
When we
yeah.
first moved up here, I got diagnosed with a hernia right when COVID hit.
Yep.
So I waited 2 years to get surgery on that, and then I'm still in pain. Then they discovered I got 14 kidney stones. So I had to wait 2 years to get those removed. Then I get those removed. I work great for a year, get money saved up. I have a fucking heart attack. And
It
it's just like,
happens.
Jesus,
Welcome to life.
can I get something to go my way, please?
Yep.
And like I said, that's what, we don't want to abandon something. You know, I made the mess. I'll take the blame. I'm not going to say it's
That's
not
not
mine.
Like I
Okay,
said,
well,
don't take offense to it, but I hear everybody say
Exactly.
that they're going to clean it.
Exactly. I hear you there.
And I have a 0% rate of people that actually do.
Yeah,
You could be that one and
well,
out of
I'm not-
everybody.
like I said,
but-
I will guarantee you that. You know my name, you know that. So
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna hide from you guys. I'm gonna. If I'm healed by then, I will definitely be helping you guys clean this shit up. So
We will go into a camp and sort of look at the garbage situation. And I've actually asked people, help me help you. What would it take to be able to get you down in town or to get this cleaned up? You just need a truck? Do you need a trailer? Do you need a truck and trailer? Are you going to take care of it yourself? Quite often they'll say, I either need help getting it out of here, which it's not my place to start asking questions on, well, how did you get it here? But if that's what it takes, then we'll help them. We dealt with a situation, it was a few years ago now. The gentleman just needed a little bit of cash to get some fuel in his truck so that he could pack up. Sure, I'll give you the cash that's in my pocket. I don't care. If that's what you need is just like $100 to fill your tank so that you can be on your way, I'll give you the $100 out of my own personal pocket to help you out to get you on your way.
The partnership that we had with BC Parks in cleaning up a provincial park that had had encampment sort of deal left behind. It was a cabin that had accumulated a lot of garbage and was in an area that was remote access. Got in there through a helicopter and was able to lift 13 loads out of the backcountry there by helicopter, and that was a really unique experience for me. Also, some of the campsites that we've cleaned up out in Okanagan Falls, for instance, that was a massive, massive one. And even though that was just this past year, 2024, and I've been involved since 2016, it showed me a whole other side of the encampment sort of situation, where we're not just dealing with individuals who are living rough and leaving messes behind, but there was a larger aspect to it that was pretty, I would say, underground, and I don't know how I would put that. Well, mental health and substance use and addiction, they definitely play a huge role in a lot of the issues that we're seeing out in the backcountry with the encampments. And I mean, sometimes neurodivergency plays a role in that as well. And the tendency to sort of hoard and clutter, and that executive dysfunction that can go with not being able to keep things in an ordered manner. It's definitely an issue that we're seeing. And oftentimes the combination of mental health issues and addiction can be an additional barrier to people being able to receive help through the services. There's numerous organizations that will assist with mental health or with substance use, but when we have a combination of mental health and substance use, it seems that in so many cases, the options and opportunities for help become even more limited. Well, there's always going to be unknowns when we go into any sort of an encampment. And there's definitely a high likelihood that we are going to be encountering any sort of pieces of equipment, like perhaps injection drug using supplies or inhalation drug use supplies. And so we do try to make sure that we have a thorough kind of run through before we have volunteers going in or kids coming out to help.
And this is why you got to be careful when you're cleaning up garbage in camps like this. You never know what you're going to pick up. You got to be very careful. And these can be your best friend. We'll set these off to the side and get them disposed of properly, and not where people or wildlife are going to get stuck with them.
Dealing with encampments in general. I'm not going to say homeless, just encampments. Not everybody's happy to see us or have us pull up or see anybody. I don't think a lot of people know about the state it's in. You know, we watch the news, or we hear about all the time all the crime and things that are going on in the city, but there's a lot of people that go up into the bush because they don't want to be seen with said stolen items, whether it's cars, um, items, whatever it is. And we've found them, not them in particular, but those items. A few years ago, we found a few ATM machines in the backcountry that were stolen out of Kelowna. And yeah, so what happens in the city still happens up there, and it's just the people up there don't want to be seen or risk being seen with those items. We find lots of stolen and dumped vehicles, burnt vehicles, shot vehicles, all the time.
Give me a minute. I gotta take some photos. They were thorough hiding it.
5 years ago, or in that general direction, when we went, it was a lot more was cleanups as far as illegal dumping and poaching, and that was kind of the majority of the cleanups that we ended up doing. But when you look at kind of today and where we are, there's so many more homeless encampments, so many more trailers and campers and actual shelters and stuff like that. Not just the encampments, but there's also like chop shops and places where they take a lot of the stolen goods and break them down or whatever. And you just 5 years ago, you just didn't see as much of that. It was more illegal dumping, and it's really sad to see that this is the way that everything's kind of going.
Wow.
Yeah.
They did it pretty good.
Okay, I gotta find a VIN.
What do they call a barn find?
It shows up tomorrow, we'll look for it and go.
Possibly stolen. There we go. Now that I actually got the E in the VIN. So, yep, it's stolen.
Wow, just right here is great.
Yeah.
That is a lot of work. Thank you guys so much. Just getting it loaded up and everything. Wow.
So the seat no longer is sort of.
Oh, I had to take
Oh,
it
that's
off.
okay.
Yeah. But the starter is there.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
One of my tools is there.
Yeah. This is.
We had taken that apart.
Okay.
That's the funny thing is they took it.
They took it under a cover. It had a cover on
They
it,
didn't even know what to
so I think
Yeah.
they just took it.
Because I was like, where the
Right?
hell's the VIN on these things?
Oh, yeah.
It's
under-
right.
It's under
Okay,
there.
yeah.
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 So, no, we were kind of laughing. So
But you
we're
can
like,
see the dirt on it. Like they had
Yeah.
it buried.
Oh,
that's
wow.
wild. I don't know how their little truck would have got there. Like you
The
said, you
truck I have
bottomed
a
out on
photo
your
of
big
was
one.
not little.
Oh, you
It's
don't
an
think
F3
so? They drove away with an
It's an
F-350, but
F-350. That's not little.
Oh, it's not little?
It's
That's
the
as
biggest
big as
one
this
yet.
truck.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In the video, it looked small. Like,
Yeah.
It's
It's a truck this size.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But it was down
Huh.
a deactivated road.
Right.
I'll pull up my coordinates and I'll show you where it was.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
We find stolen cars, stolen trucks, all.
Huh? So is this volunteer work, or
Yep.
is this your
So, no, it's all
paid
volunteer.
gig?
All
Wow.
volunteer.
A lot of people seem to think that, yes, we're nonprofit, but that we're government funded. We're not. We have zero government funding for Okanagan Forest Task Force. We run off the donations of hard-working community members and businesses. And without them, this wouldn't be possible because we have zero government funding.
So are we just going all over?
Our very first cleanup we did, I think there was 15 volunteers, maybe 20. And the Facebook group comprised of about a couple hundred people, if that. And now we're well over 3,000 members. And depending on the cleanup and how much help we push that we need, we can see upwards of 150 volunteers on a cleanup.
Originally with OFTF, I think it was just me and Kane have always hung out. We're part of the same 4x4 group. And when he started that OFTF group. I just jumped on the wagon because that's something that's super near and dear to my heart, and I completely agree with everything that's stand for. Love protecting the backcountry. Honestly, it's a shame how a lot of individuals treat it, and just the fact that there's so many people that are destitute, that are resorting to needing to live in the backcountry, or are just forced out of normal civilization due to the fact that the cost of living is so high, and or the criminal aspect of whether it's chop shops or drug labs or whatever. I mean, it's crazy how the backcountry is not just for enjoying, it's become a dumping ground, and also just really bad for crime and all sorts of other things.
The growth is something I never would have imagined. Even if I go back looking at it and somebody would have said, oh, yeah, in a few years, you'll have this many members and this many news articles and people following and seeing how they can help, I would have said no way. But it turns out a lot of people do care about the environment and want to make a difference. And it's amazing to see community members, our volunteers, businesses all want to be a part of helping make that difference and keep BC beautiful. One of the big things I tell people all the time is, our license plates, they say beautiful British Columbia, but I could take you to many places in the backcountry. It's the opposite.
Yep. There you go. The pouches of tinfoil that they used to cook on. Gross. The drugs.
Without the community support and the sponsors we have, and the backing from our sponsors, the community, when we do our fundraisers, everything, we'd be nowhere. I can't fund this. Our volunteers can't fund this. Even if we all pool our money together, we can't fund this. We rely on volunteers, community support, our sponsors, and everybody, when we do our fundraisers to raise money to keep doing this.
Hi, I'm Mark Leger, the manager of the community here at Lakestone. It would have been about 5 or 6 years ago when I started seeing all the reports about the great things that Kane and his team were doing, and there was a story every week about the great work cleaning up trash and home like encampments, and just generally just all the work that was being done by him and his volunteers really caught my attention. I was looking for an organization to sponsor at the time, and given the business that we're in, the land development business, land and forests and things like that become quite important to us. So it just seemed like a natural fit to channel some of our funds to Kane for all the work that he's doing. The stories were very compelling, but then I got to know Kane personally, and I actually spent some time in the field seeing it firsthand. And Kane downplays everything, and so when I was in the field with him, it became quite apparent the tremendous amount of work that this guy puts in, and his people, and the personal time that he puts into this was just remarkable. So it just was a natural thing for me to do. I just wanted to help out in whatever small way I could, and I convinced our company to put their backing behind Kane, and the proof is in the pudding. The amount of work that they've done, the amount of rubbish that they've pulled out of the bush, the stats don't lie. It's a remarkable effort, and we're going to continue doing this year over year over year as long as Kane lets us.
Things cost money. Fuel to go scouting, to figure out, okay, there's illegal campfires during fire bans, abandoned fires before and after fire bans. all the garbage that happens. There's fuel involved, and there's expenses on cleanups. Rakes get broken or lost. Shovels get broken or lost. People want to be fed. Propane to fire up the barbecue. Every little thing that people don't think about still costs money. What if the trailer gets a flat tire? Okay, well, we got to go get plugs to fix it. How many plugs before you replace the tire? Because now it's dangerous. You could have a blowout. We in the last couple of years had a tow truck donated. That took a lot of work. It was the truck was free, but the maintenance isn't. Hydraulic lines leak, they blow. Engines need work. Diesel trucks, gas trucks, they all need work. So for certain items like vehicles or whatever that they're out every cleanup or they get used all the time for cleanups, require maintenance. Patrols, as we talked about, you've been on some of these back roads. A lot of people probably watching this have been on back roads. They're not pleasant. Vehicles aren't made to be beat up every single day on a back road. They're fine for in town, they're fine for the highways. But when you're up in the bush doing cleanups and you're lugging excavators and bobcats up and down these hills or garbage, you're requiring certain things from a vehicle on a daily basis that it just can't do. Not without upkeep and maintenance, ball joints, tie rods. The OFTF truck, the one that we use every day up in the bush, we put a brand new set of ball joints in it this year. And, well, we thought were good ones. And within a month, they were garbage. A new set had to go in. These ones have lasted a very long time. But, I mean, these roads are rough.
My name is Jared Kletke. I own JK Auto Repair, and Kane and I know each other through working on vehicles, I guess. So JK Auto Repair started out as Jekyll Fab because I worked at a dealership and I was building big crazy 4x4s in my spare time. I got sick of the rat race at the dealership and what I felt was like a dishonest service to people. So I quit the dealership. I started a mechanic shop. I kept the name. That has turned into JK Auto Repair because people can't pronounce Jekyll Fab. So I own a mechanic shop now, and my entire business goal is to be honest and break the stigma of what mechanics are. Because everybody wants to talk about how bad their mechanic is and how dishonest their mechanic is, and every mechanic's a crook. And that's not me. I will lose money to be honest. I have chosen to support OFTF because I want to keep using the backcountry. I want to keep being allowed to 4x4, go fishing, and I don't want to see what is happening on the island and in the lower mainland where Forest Service roads are getting gated and they're getting restricted, and it's more incentivized for the government to close the forest than to discipline people and maintain the forest. So the inevitability, I think, of maybe not in my lifetime, but someday the backcountry is going to be shut down to the regular people. So the way I see it is we need OFTF out there doing God's work, keeping the forest open so I can keep enjoying it. Because maybe I'm selfish, but that I need Kane out there to keep me out there.
For now, we've got it all set up here. So, illegal dumping, GPS coordinates, everything. 2 photos that I just took, hit submit. And now it's reporting it to our website.
I would love to get our app in the hands of anybody going into the backcountry, whether it's horseback riding, hiking, mountain biking, out for a Sunday cruise. That app is a key tool to us being able to help track and manage hotspots in the backcountry and where certain dump sites are.
My name's Dan Carter. I live in Kelowna, British Columbia. Proud father of 3 kids, married man, outdoor enthusiast, love to fly fish, get up in the woods, the mountains, and I guess you could say I'm a software engineer for over 30 years, and been running my own business for about 25 years. yeah, so when I saw Kane, obviously reached out to him, told him about what I was building. He was super pumped up, like obviously wanted to work together. And so I was pretty pumped too. And then we started with like the first website, which I don't know, like 8-10 years ago. And it was okay, kind of clunky. And then we upgraded to this newer website because my company does websites, software, app, all that stuff, AI, you name it. And the second website, you could actually track the garbage and see it on Google Maps and where the hot spots were. And then took it a step further and built apps that work offline, so you can actually go out and use a tool in the woods, capture, photos and GPS coordinates, and it all works offline. You come back, it syncs up. Now, all that is basically the hosting, all the data collection, the photos. There's a lot of data being collected right now. And kind of where I'm seeing this going is expanding and open sourcing all these apps, all the software, the websites, the hosting, everything. But it's about finding more Kane Blakes and building the communities around. And that's the part I'm trying to wrap my head around. I provided this tool set and everything for people to use. But how you expand that from the Okanagan up to, Prince George or Prince Rupert or wherever else this might be prevalent, right?
We've had major record-breaking year this year. We were nominated and won the Kelowna Civic Community Award for Best Volunteer Organization.
The award goes to Okanagan Forest Task Force. Congratulations, come on up.
We won Best of Kelowna in Environmental Organization, which is huge for all the volunteers and the hours that they put in and everything. Just being able for them to be everybody to be recognized for the hard work that we all put into the backcountry.
One more time, a round of applause for our winners, the Okanagan Forest Task Force.
And across beautiful British Columbia, we are blessed with truly pristine forests. Sadly, many of our forests are increasingly being violated by illegal dumping and other unauthorized uses of Crown land. The garbage and filth left behind is simply alarming. Today, I would like to recognize a man named Kane Blake who decided to do something about it.
Thank AM 1150 and yourself, Phil, for allowing this to happen. It's a big honor. I can think of no bigger honor as a member of Parliament than to present worthy citizens with this distinguished medal.
And this man is certainly one of those.
And absolutely, and I think your listeners would agree. So, Kane, due to your significant contributions to our region and to our country, I hereby award you the King Charles III Coronation Medal. Thank you for your service.
Wow. What a great moment. An applause that would be magnified 1,000 or 2,000 times, Kane Blake. Proud of you, and what a great moment. What a great moment in time. And I'll say this: you honor us by deciding, because I do know that Dan said, where do you want to do this? And you said, well, if I had my brothers, or whatever words, you decided you wanted to come here. Honored, friend.
We go way back from day one.
We do. But this is different. So, looks pretty good right there.
Growing up as a kid, you wouldn't see all these encampments in the backcountry or structures being built. Some of these places that we visit, it looks like they're building a house in the bush. And I remember growing up where we had enforcement where they used to go in, you'd get a notice put on the door, you need to vacate by this date, and they would burn down the cabin, or they would escort you off the Crown land area and whatever. And now we don't have that. It seems to be the new normal just to go live into the bush, I feel. when you make a report now of a homeless encampment or any encampment that you find, you phone the RAP line, and from there it gets sent to the natural resource officers, who then they send a file off to the Homeless Encampment Action Response Team. And from what I've read, all that is social workers going up asking you politely to leave the bush. After doing this for 8 years, and people say, well, you know, there's addiction or mental health issues, and, you know, that's why people are living out there or spending their time out there with their doing crime or whatever it is. What about the mental health of the volunteers that are constantly having to go out there and clean it up? Does that not matter? Like, it gets infuriating after a while, sitting there and you've cleaned up after that one person, and you know that even if they get a ticket, they're not going to pay it. And you'll go find that person a week later at their new spot, and they've got a huge mess again, and you're going to have to clean that up. And then when they move to the next spot, you're going to clean that up, and it gets frustrating.
This is part of our watershed.
One of the biggest obstacles that we're going to have, and I don't see it changing anytime soon until we have a major change in the powers that be, is the encampments. It's always going to be an issue, and until we have a change, it's not going to change. It's going to get worse. And the scary part is there's that saying, things get worse before it gets better. I don't know how much worse it can get and how much more the backcountry can take before a lot of it gets just trashed by people in general. This isn't even I'm not even just talking about the backcountry. Our town in general is becoming overrun, and with people that can't afford housing. We have a massive drug crisis happening and mental health crisis. It's really sad to see, and it's now moving into the backcountry. We need to come up with a solution pretty fast. If you talk to people about where they live, and I'm not even talking just Kelowna or the Okanagan, this is everywhere. Like the crisis that we're having with mental health, drug addiction, theft, and crime, it's everywhere. But, you know, dealing with it here in the backcountry, it comes down to that not everybody's happy to see you. We go into lots of camps where it goes perfectly smooth, and then there's the other side that we don't talk about. I don't post on Facebook, and where things don't always go smooth.
Worried I'm gonna find somebody OD'd.
Yeah, it seems that it's very easy to say and blame drugs and mental health. But what about the mental health of the people trying to make a difference?
Gross. It smells like rotting corpse here.
We call them bleeding hearts or whatever you want to call them. I'm bled out. I'm done. I don't care anymore. I work and do everything I can with OFTF for hours and hours every day, and I don't get paid. We have no funding to pay anybody. Why do they get to live for free? Or live in the bush? And what used to be a law that you couldn't, you were only allowed to be in one spot for 14 days, where's that gone? Other than out the window. Nobody's enforcing it. Otherwise we wouldn't have the situation we're having now.
Like, good on them, but like, you can't live in. That looks like a bucket of shit. It looks like a bucket of shit.
Yeah. Jesus.
Literally a bucket of shit.
The laws have gotten soft, and I mean, that's literally the black and white of it. You go back 10, 15 years ago, you couldn't live in the backcountry 14 days, and then you were asked to move on. We know of camps that have been up there for over 5 years in one location. And that's not how it should be. I mean, I'm not going to get too in-depth into all of it, but I mean, like, these tiny homes we have. We're just letting people live in them. Why don't you work to live in it? Yeah, we can have a reduced rate at, rent, whatever. But why should they just get to live for free? There's nothing stopping them from handing people who want to be in these tiny homes or living a bag of garbage bags and say, okay, well, clean up. Help clean up our city. Come clean up the backcountry with us. My personal belief, and I don't care where this makes it, is nothing in life is free. I was raised on that. Nothing in life is free. I know many homeless people that I've seen that are more than capable of carrying a garbage bag and a stick with a little nail and start picking up garbage, or one of those little grabber sticks that you get in school, and go help the community. You want to be a part of it. You want things for free in it. Go participate and be a part of it. People wouldn't have a problem with these facilities being built if they knew that people had to work to be in them. And I don't even blame the RCMP. I don't blame a lot of people, but something needs to change. A lot of people have their hands tied on what they can and cannot do with their jobs, like law enforcement and whatever. But got to stop letting these people out. We all grew up in a time where we've all heard that saying, if you do the crime, you do the time, and crime doesn't pay. There's a lot of crimes that are being committed, and there's no time being served.
The fuck is in there?
Flashlight down there. Somebody's down there. They turned their flashlight off. They were over there.
It's a slap on the wrist, a piece of paper, and off you go. A lot of people feel the same way. A lot. But what do? We didn't write the laws. We're stuck living with the mess that's been made by our government, and we're just expected to live with it.
Hi, I'm Michael with Epoch Environmental Consulting. We're responding here with Talon Environmental and the Okanagan Forest Task Force. Unfortunately, we have this terrible situation over here where somebody's come by and dumped a whole bunch of building materials. We're seeing things like texture coat, drywall, gypsum board, and ceramic tiles. Now, these materials are known asbestos-containing and lead-containing materials. They are both provincially and federally regulated. So it is a criminal offense on both a provincial and a federal level to do something like this. It is a jailable offense. It's a finable offense. Obviously, the good folks over at the Okanagan Task Force are responding over here, trying to get this cleaned up as soon as possible, because guess what? This is where we play. This is where we live. Kids come out here. Families come out here. People walk their dogs. And when somebody walks through something like this, they're instantly exposed to carcinogens, to other harmful materials that could impact them for life. And not just that, it ends up in our water streams, in our environment. So it's extremely important that if you see anybody ever dumping any material on our public lands, on our crown land, make sure that you report them right away.
The scary things to talk about are the things that don't get talked about. What about wildfire season? And you have people up there living without a running vehicle. You're not going to outrun that fire. Not on foot. It's not going to happen. So we keep tabs on them. In the event of a fire, we will let the proper authorities know that there is a camp here, and, don't forget about them, and try and get them out in a timely manner. It could be days, weeks, months. Could be ever if nobody even knows where you are. You know, being in town where you have those the sources readily available, like ambulances, and people walking by to see if something's wrong and be able to make those calls to 911 or whatever, that's vital. Living in the backcountry with an addiction issue or mental health issues, that's probably not the best place for you. I understand why people do it and they want to be left alone, or there's all different reasons. But the backcountry is not the solution. What if something happens?
Well, there was someone in that truck. We got him out in time. He was asleep in the cab, but he's out now.
Last year, devastating wildfire. And encampments in the backcountry where I made a phone call and I was like, there's a homeless camp back here, and if they don't get taken out, there's not going to be anybody or anything left to go back to. And luckily they made it out. None of their items were. Everything they owned was burnt. We have absolutely, other than what they were wearing, nothing to go back to. We run the risk of the potential to start a fire. You know, especially with addiction or whatever, and you pass out and you're cooking, then what? That happened this year, Bartley Road. Not an addiction issue, but a gentleman was cooking. The road was already burnt from last year's fire, and, you know, people go, oh, it'll never burn again. Wrong. See it all the time. He was cooking, he walked away from his fire, came back, and his tent was on fire, the trees were on fire, and then he had to run on foot almost 1.5 kilometers to a house to call BC Wildfire because he restarted an extinguished forest fire a year later. That's why we have a big water tank and fire pumps and fire hoses on our truck, is so that, you know, we can put out all these abandoned campfires. I've lost track this year how many fires we put out before the fire ban and after the fire ban that were just left unseen. We're gonna walk away. Bye. They don't put it out. They don't put dirt on it. They don't do nothing. They just walk away. But you get a little bit of rain on the ground and everybody stops caring. So we go around and we still put out all those fires. This year alone, we put out 22 or 23 fires during a 47-day fire ban because people just didn't care about the ban. We were called in and responded to a couple other fires that aren't even in that number, that people had physically started or whatever. So, and the number not in a ban, yeah, we've lost count. One of the donations we got this year was a DJI thermal drone to help with, you know, finding illegal campfires, finding some of these encampments that are deep back in the woods and knowing if that somebody's in there or not. Having a thermal drone is going to be a huge tool that we will probably use more often than not now in going into certain situations or watching over the backcountry.
Now, how is this okay, though? The amount of garbage in food wrappers, pizzas. This is how we get garbage and problem bears that are going to die because of this. But because they're not human and they're wildlife, it doesn't matter. But it does. Much prefer wildlife over people.
So this spot is where people, they tend to go at least once a year in the beginning of the summertime, and then they always move on once they realize this is a party spot. People don't really care if there's an encampment or people camping there. They'll just have a party regardless. But I know we see them all over the back roads in all different areas. And this is what me and David do right here is we sort of scan and we look for garbage piles like that. Or in this case, there's another trailer. We found many of different sites, just scrolling, looking while we're out here. And then, yeah, the trail networks in all different areas of the backcountry are just crazy to see, and how much area you can cover with different roads. And oh, there's vehicles right here off a road. We'll have to mark that down and go check those out. Oh, we're gonna have to take a break. Members of the Legislative Assembly, this looks important. I should probably take this. Okanagan Forest Task Force. This is. Definitely. A meeting would be awesome. Would love to sit down with you guys and have a chat.